My name's Angelo, and welcome to We Want Picks. I'm sitting here with Chris Reilly, and Chris is going to walk through a lot of your questions around betting, how to bet on UFC, what that means, and how it all works. Before we jump in, go to wewantpicks.com/bets. We have 5 different betting partners. Sign up with any one of those 5 partners, and we will send you $50 as a thank you. That's wewantpicks.com/bets. I'll talk about my 2-fighter parlays, right? I was on a streak there where I was grabbing 2 favorites that I was positive was going to win. I smashed them together. I got some decent odds, and I went from there. And then inevitably, we get comments saying parlays are sucker bets.
Yeah.
And then conversely, we talk about some of these sports books allow you, let's say you do a 10-fight parlay. They allow you to cash out if things are going well. So I just wanted to get your take on, are parlays sucker bets, and is cashing out ever worth it?
Okay, so to get to it, I don't think a lot of people really understand how a parlay works. So I just kind of wanted to run through what a parlay actually is. What a parlay does is it basically takes, if you win your bet, you have 200, it takes all of that money that you already won that should be in your account, and it forces it onto the next bet. So when you're doing these minus 200s to get even money, it's basically saying if you do 200 to win 100, okay, well, cool, then you should have 300, but you don't have 300 because you're putting all 300 on the next fight. You're just doubling it up at those odds. So, and then if you do it with another fight, it just keeps doubling it up. And that's inevitably what a parlay is. Help me if this is making sense or not.
You're basically saying if I have 5 fighters I want to bet on,
yes,
if I parlayed them, it's basically like doing 5 individual money line bets, except my money is locked in to all 5 of those fights. Where if instead I just did a money line bet, then a money line bet, a money line bet, a money line bet, money line bet, I now get my money back after each bet, and I have the freedom to decide to do what I want to do with that money. Is that essentially the difference?
That is exactly it. And why I think it's kind of a sucker bet in a sense with MMA, because unlike other sports, you don't have 5 fights going off at the same time. They all take place at different times. So if you're not going to be able to watch the fights, or you're busy, you're moving or something like that, and you're just not going to be around, it's okay, yeah, go ahead and do a parlay. But inevitably, yeah, it's the same thing. If you had $100, you bet it, whatever you win, and then you win that bet, you go to the next fight, you bet all of it again, and you just keep betting all the money. That's inevitably what a parlay is. So, I mean, they're still fine to do. I don't mind it, by all means. It's especially a 1 or 2 leg one, because it's not much different. But the reality is they're holding on to, why would you let the books hold on to your money? That's kind of why it's a sucker bet, because especially, I just feel like with MMA, you don't necessarily need to do it for the reasons I just told you, because you have it in your account. These books pay you the second the fight's over. The money will be in your account balance. It's you don't necessarily need to keep risking all of it, especially when we talk about units. That throws units out the window, because if you hit 3 of them, then it's just you all of a sudden throwing a 5-unit bet on something. And that's not the key to success long term. And I also like it too, because some people get all pissy and they're like, oh, this book sucks, they don't let you parlay this. And it's sure they do. Just bet it individually, and then if it's a shitty odd one -4 or something, or whatever, and it's $100 returns you 20, well, go put $100 to win 20. Then you have 120 for the next fight, and bet that whole 120 on the next fight. And that's exactly what a parlay is. It's really just doubling down, doubling down, doubling down, doubling down. And inevitably, you're probably going to lose one of those fights, and that's where you go bankrupt. And that's why and then that goes back to these cash out options. These books are just showing you all these cash outs. They're we'll let you cash out. We'll let you cash out. Well, they're taking money from you. If you bet it individually, and it's just if you look at the odds that they're giving you for that cash out, you would have never been in that situation if you didn't parlay it in the first place. And, you could very easily bet all of it if you wanted to. But if you didn't want it to, gosh, it's so hard to explain these things, because a million things go through my head. But trust me, the odds they're giving you when you cash out, they are taking a good percentage of it, what you should have had if you bet them individually. So the cash outs aren't necessarily a great thing. I mean, I get it, because you can get scared, because it's oh, I can still win all this money, and if I lose, I lose it all. It's yeah, well, then you shouldn't be parlaying in the first place.
Well, and it goes back to what we said in the beginning of this, where 90% of bets placed are $5 to win $1,000 bets, whether they're long shot odds or these crazy parlays. We have our free Discord server. We're constantly getting people posting their screenshots of their $5, 10 fight parlays that hit. And it sounds amazing. And you're basically saying, great, you threw $5 on it, you won all that money. But that's the same exact amount of money you would have won if you started with 5 and then just kept doubling down all the profits from that initial $5 bet on every fight the rest of the card. It's the exact same amount of money. And if you wanted to stop halfway through, you would have more money in your pocket than if you took the cash out option halfway through.
That's exactly it. If you took a $5 bet and your first fight's plus 300, so you're going to win $15, right? Now you have $20. And then you're taking that whole $20 and like on another plus 200, that's going to make, that's just going to put you up to $60. And it's just like, holy crap, look at all this money. But it's like, you would have done that. Or you could have hit the cash out button and they'll offer you 50. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. And It's just like, and you're like, okay, and that's exactly what it is. And they're taking $10 from you because you pushed out. And yeah, no, that's exactly what it is, Angelo. So it's just kind of, I don't know. It's hard to explain, but it's not hard to explain. That's exactly how it is.
Yeah, listen, this is enlightening because I've fallen victim to this as well. I still love my 2-fight parlays, but I love get you. I get your point where mathematically speaking, it's the same if you don't parlay them. And parlaying just gives the sports book one more chance to take your money. So,
especially in a sport where the fights don't take place at the same time. If you're going to be sitting behind your computer, BetOnline is phenomenal. A lot of these sports books are phenomenal. I mean, they will have that money in your account by the time the decision is read because they want you to have that money. They want you to have that because the sooner you have that money, the sooner you can put it back into their books. So that's something these books really thrive on. So I think, exactly. If you can put that, just bet it again, So there you go. And inevitably, when you get to that last leg of it, if you're parlaying it, it's like sometimes it's forcing you to bet like 5-6 units because you've been crushing your other ones. And while it's great and stuff, it's like you still have that option to do it.
Yeah, you wouldn't do that because you're right. If it wasn't a parlay, if I do a 10-fight parlay and we're 5 fights in and we've won every single one of them, in real life, I would not take all of that money and put it on the next fight. I would not do that in real life. But in a parlay, that's exactly what you're doing. And when you look at it that way and you look at the odds the way that you broke them down, you really suck the fun out of all of this. So I appreciate you absolutely sucking the fun out of betting and parlay. No. So thank you so much. The Grinch of sports betting.
No. Reilly. Not at all, man. I mean, I'm helping you guys keep your money because I know you've all cashed out at one point in time. And now it's just like, I'm just kind of trying to explain. And trust me, it is fun. If you're betting $5-10, win a bunch of money. I mean, what's $5-10 lost? But it's like in the long term, this is a grind, man. This is a marathon. This isn't a sprint. We're trying to kind of grind out profits week in, week out. And it's just kind of important to understand how this works so you have a better chance. I'm just trying to help you all become better gamblers. That's all I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to take out the fun of gambling. So, I mean, still, by all means, if you can't watch the fight 1/3 10-fight parlay, go for it. But if you're sitting there watching it all, you shouldn't be doing that.
Well, and I think it's a great point to make before we go here that essentially, like you said, MMA is different than other sports. If it's a football Sunday and there's 3 teams, you can't do individual bets because there's 3 teams are playing at the same time. But then you may want to parlay those. But like you said, fights, if you're sitting down and you have your phone or have your computer, you really don't need to do a parlay. You can just bet it right there while you're sitting down watching. But if you're doing stuff, running around, not really catching the fights, you want to do a 2-fight parlay, go for it. Just know that you're doubling the bet halfway through. And that it makes a lot of sense to look at it that way. And I definitely appreciate the sort of the practical mathematical approach to all of this to put it all in perspective, every week when we do this. So thank you very much.
Of course. I mean, I can see people in this industry not being happy with me doing this podcast and being pretty upset that I'm explaining, like breaking it down and opening your eyes to shit. I promise you people are not going to be happy if they find this out. So I'm really sticking my neck out there telling you guys this, but this is common information that's out there, and this is, I love this community. So, and also it's like, if people have an issue with me talking about odds like this, then I'm not working for assholes anymore. And it's like, I will jump into another industry if this gets me banned from the industry, but I don't think it will. There's a
Well,
lot.
you didn't reveal any. You're not a magician talking about how they sawed a lady in half. This is,
Yeah.
people know this. Not everybody, but people do know this. It's information that's out there. So I just appreciate you taking your years of knowledge and experience and the grind that you do every day, and then explaining it in normal terms for people to understand. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm sure everybody else does.
Yeah.
And I'm sure this answered a million questions that we get every week.
And I'm sure we're going to have a ton more. And you know what? I'm in that Discord. Just hit it up if you have some, or even post on some of these links, and I'll try to check them out. Angela does a good job of hitting me up when you guys post in these videos with a question, letting me know that you posted. I might have had some things a little off, but, I'm trying my best to kind of explain to it, and not everything's an exact science. I'm just trying to help everyone out. We're all on this together. I love the We Want Picks families, and we're just trying to grow. That's all we're trying to do.
Well, I appreciate it. I'm sure everybody watching appreciates. You have questions, like Chris said, he's in the Discord. Make a comment down below. I will probably slice and dice this video as well, because there's a lot of good individual content here.
Yeah, we filmed a lot.
Yeah, well, I'm going to slice and dice it as well, because there's a lot of solid information here. So, again, genuinely appreciate this. And frankly, I'm expecting a lot of questions, and we'll probably film a part 2.
Hey, works for me, man. I'm always around, and I'm always willing to help you guys out. Like I said, you guys are my boys, man. I love this channel. I love this group. I love it all, man. So hit me up whenever.
Well, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
All right, guys. Thank you, and I'm sure I'll be chatting with y'all later.